Hey everyone, here's a quick tutorial on how to get started using PropStream. We'll start with searching for information on a specific property, detecting issues should they exist, reading the property's details, and then running comps. Then we'll get into generating targeted lists by using the all-powerful filter tab, as well as exporting lists out of PropStream for use with your own printing company or list appending skip tracing services. Those services are available within PropStream, but we want you to know that you have the flexibility to choose your own vendor if you'd like. So let's get started. Okay, so to find information on a specific property, you would type the address in the search box on the top left-hand corner of the screen. And so I'm just going to type an address I know here in Irvine, California, and then hit search. And when you do that, lots of things are going to happen on the page. First, you'll see the map start to populate. You can change from map view to aerial view right here on the bottom right-hand corner of the map. And you'll notice that your subject property appears in gray, and then the 25 closest neighbors appear in blue. If you scroll down on the screen, you'll notice that if the streets light up in blue, if you double-click on the blue, you get down to Street View. And while we're here, right down here, if you click this little button, it'll open up the ability for you to drag the street around and drive around it without having to click on the screen, which I like very much. Okay, if you're investing in this area and you're not familiar with it, we have statistics for that zip code right down here. We go over price changes, market trends, listing trends, sales trends, new foreclosure month over months, average rents per bedroom, and other information that you can use to familiarize yourself with that area. But to dive into the details, you would click on the details button right over here. And doing that will open up a slew of information. One thing worth mentioning, and something we do that no other service out there is providing, is we are vetting the property for you. We're going to preliminarily vet this property and look for issues that it may have. So if I didn't know anything about this property and type the address in, PropStream will automatically, through the property details, will tell me that it's in pre-foreclosure, it has an involuntary lien, that it's part of a bankruptcy, or if it's part of a divorce, it'll show that, or anything else for that matter. If it has an issue with it, will pop up here as well. So on this screen, we're going to summarize the information for you. We've gone through all of the records, and we're going to give you some information right up front about the property. First, we reiterate the number of bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage and the year built. But we'll also provide you with the estimated value, tell you whether it's on or off market, whether the property is distressed, and it is. And this distressed means pre-foreclosure or foreclosure, voluntary lien. So we're going to get that information right here at this tab. We also tell you that it has involuntary liens. We're going to tell you that the owner is an individual, that it is owner-occupied single-family home. We're going to estimate the value using a proprietary algorithm that we license, and we can get into that a little bit later. But for now, let's just keep going. We're going to map the estimated value change over time. We're going to provide you with its last market sale date and last market sale price. We're also going to pre-run the comps for you, and then we'll give you a chance at running your own comps right here from the comps tab, and I'll just go over that in a minute. In this case, this property has 12 comparables with an average of $1,188,668. And it takes this 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom property an average of 81 days to sell in this specific area. We're also going to show you its calculated mortgage balance and its estimated equity. And the way we figure out estimated equity is that we take its mortgage balance, subtract it from its estimated value, and then we're going to provide you with an estimated equity for the property. The next thing you'll see is, again, it letting you know how much the involuntary liens total, as well as monthly rent. Now, this is worth mentioning and stopping as well for a moment. So we are calculating rental comps based on a company that we work with that assesses each property individually. They're not taking an average of $2 per square foot for the area and then multiplying it by the square feet. They're actually assessing that property separate from the others on the street. So we're going to have probably the most accurate rental comps you're going to find out there. Okay, so now let's dive into the specific details for this property, starting with the property details located right here under the Property Details tab. We start out with the owner information. It'll give you the owner's name. Should there be a second owner, their name will be here as well. It's going to tell you if the property is owner-occupied or not. In this case, the property is owner-occupied, so the mailing address is the same as the property address. However, should this be a non-owner-occupied property, the owner's mailing address would be located right here. Next is property characteristics. This is lot size, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms. Does it have a pool? Does it have a hot tub? And so on. Next section is homeowner association information. In this case, Woodbridge Village Association is the homeowner association. The fee is $84, and it's indicated right here that it's monthly. Next, you'll get the site information to include the land use, in this case, single-family home. It'll give you the lot number in case you want to pull an assessor's map, which we have available for you within the application. We'll get to that a little bit later. Next section is assessment information, then last sale information. Now, last sale information contains the last sale amount, the last sale date, the type of transaction that was done. It'll also give you the interest rates for the mortgage, the type of mortgage, the term of the mortgage. So it's a real deep dive into the mortgage and last sale of the information. We also have a prior sale information, should the property have that, as well as location information. So as we talked about earlier, the prop stream will go through and look for issues with the property. And we saw up here in the summary that the property was distressed and it had involuntary liens. And those details are going to show up in these tabs here. So if the property is in pre-foreclosure or in foreclosure, if it's got liens, bankruptcy, or a divorce, or has issues such as those, these tabs dynamically appear and disappear depending on the situation for the property. So in the pre-foreclosure details, you're going to see that in this case, it's a notice of trustee sale. The unpaid balance is $933,858. And the amount of default was $44,345. We've got a preliminary auction date set for 7/3/2018 at noon. And then we have more detailed loan information regarding the pre-foreclosure in this section. And then the trustee's name, phone number, address, and the trustee sale number in case you'd like to contact the trustee. The next section is the involuntary lien details. As we saw up here in the summary, it had an involuntary lien for $39,531.46. Well, the details for that are going to be located here. Now, liens could be HOA liens, they can be tax liens, they can be mechanics liens, they can be utility liens, but in this case, it's a federal tax lien for that $39,000, and the details for it are right here. In the next tab, you'll find the bankruptcy details, everything from the bankruptcy filing date to any new recording that's happened or new information about the bankruptcy. All of it will be located right here in the bankruptcy tab. The next section is one of my favorite sections in the PropStream application, and that's the comparables and nearby listings tab. And not only because you can run accurate comps that we derive from county recordings and the MLSs, but it also gives you some deep local knowledge about the area surrounding your subject property. For example, you're able to see the neighbors surrounding your subject property and look into what they paid for the properties and when. You're able to look at the surrounding MLS properties. And if you look over here into the status column, you're able to sort by active and sold. So if you want to see the active properties currently surrounding your subject property, you can do that. If you want to see exactly where the sold properties are surrounding your subject property, you can do that. The application will also detail out the pre-foreclosures and foreclosures in the area, and that's going to be useful if you're in an area and there's 200 or 300 pre-foreclosures and a bunch of foreclosures surrounding that property. You might want to think twice about investing there. It'll also take you through and show you the liens surrounding the property and the rest of these categories listed in these boxes right here. Now let's get back to the comps tab and run our own comps. So you can change the date range, change the square footage, change the distance from the subject property. Incidentally, the default is a half a mile, and you can indicate a new distance by typing in this box. You can change the bedrooms, number of bedrooms and bathrooms. But for now, rather than do that, I'd like you to pay attention to this section right here below the words comparable properties. And so now when I go through, I can sort now by last sale date, and I'll sort for the 2018 properties. And I can select and deselect properties from this list. And when I do, the number of properties that are selected, the average sale price, and the days on market will dynamically change. And that'll give you a quick read on the value, the average value of those comps so that you can determine or more closely determine the value of your subject property. Now, at any time, if you want to dive a little deeper and compare apples to apples, you can click on any one of these comps, hit details, and it'll pull up the same property detail we looked at for the subject property, and that'll give you the ability to make sure that what you're looking at is really a comp and not just something that seems like a comp without looking further into it. The next section in the properties details is the tax information. And the tax information is going to show you the parcel number, the owner's name, the current tax bill mailing address, and the tax bill mailing address is typically where the owner lives, and it's owner occupied, so it'll be the same as the subject property. It'll give you the tax year, the annual tax amount, as well as the assessed value, land value, and improvement value, and give you a couple of years of history on the taxes. Next is the mortgage section, or the mortgage information section. You'll notice that since the last transaction on the property, and I'm going to jump forward to transaction history, was in 2005, which is indicated right up here in the summary, it looks like this person either refinanced or took on another mortgage in 2011. It's the same owner of the property. Therefore, it wasn't a sale. It was just a transaction that might have been done. And without transaction history and mortgage, it would have been difficult to figure that out. However, we have all the transaction history and mortgage information for properties nationwide, and that'll give you the ability to look into that. The last section of the properties details is the document and reporting tab. Now, I know we didn't talk about running an analysis, and we'll do that in another video, but should you have run an analysis on the property, it's going to break down a complete analysis, a mortgage analysis, a rehab and improvement analysis, and so on once you've done that. So look for that in a new video soon. What I wanted to touch on in the Documents and Reports tab is the ability for you to purchase assessor maps and document images. So if you needed an assessor's map, it's $1.50. If you needed a document image, such as a deed or transfer, you'd be able to purchase it from here for $5. Made it really simple. You don't have to go to a title company website. We've got everything right here for you. So one other thing I wanted to mention that I wasn't planning on mentioning during this video, but I feel that it's relevant, and since I have you here, worth mentioning, is the Rehab calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and select Rehab calculator, and you'll notice that a new screen pops up. This Rehab calculator takes local labor and material costs nationwide into consideration while calculating a rehab project. Blue Hammer is our data provider. Blue Hammer is in charge of sourcing all of this information nationwide, and they do a real good job of it. They also have a contract for the next 5 years with HUD, as they do with many insurance companies, lenders, and banks out there who want to validate contractor bids. So it's been very well vetted and will provide you with the most accurate estimate for a rehab project. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new estimate by clicking Estimate New Project Costs. I'll go ahead and name it, and you'll see a couple of selections pop up on the screen. First, it's Search by Popular Project. And this is going to detail out more popular projects that are done in rehabs. And the search by individual action, it's for the more experienced user. And this will allow you to get down and break the project down into multiple components. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and select popular project. Let's go ahead and do a flooring rehab. I'm going to hit next. We're going to replace the existing flooring with laminate. Hit next. We're going to go ahead and do it in the bedroom, and I'm going to hit next. And now, this is where you select the quality. Best being designer quality and more high-end. Economy, of course, being economy and lower-end. So I'm going to go ahead and do a better project, hit next. And then I'm going to go ahead and also pin this to the dining room. And I'm going to add that to the estimate as well. So once you get to this part, you would go up to project details. And you'll notice that the project's been broken down in the different materials that you're going to need, and that the labor has not yet been filled in yet, except for, hand carrying things to a garbage bin and a masking covering the walls and furniture. So to get the rest of the information in here, you'd click on Add Area Measurements. You would indicate the type of ceiling. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and select flat, and then indicate the length of the short walls and the long walls and the ceiling height. which I'll put at 10 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and click Calculate Area Measurements, and you'll notice that everything now is filled in. Now, typically removing and resetting furniture, a contractor won't charge for that, so we left it at 0. Install new transition strip, same thing. If your contractor is going to charge you, you can add these in here before you compare it to their estimate. So once you've done that, you'd go up to the top and select Project Report, and it's going to break the project down and give you a estimate of what you can expect to pay a contractor as well as a do-it-yourself price. So let's recap what we've gone over today. We've learned how to search for a specific property. We've also learned that PropStream will flesh out the issues a property may have, like foreclosures or liens or bankruptcy or divorce. We've gone through the summary at the top of the detail page for that property and looked at the property details as well as the foreclosure information, lien information, bankruptcy information. We've gone through and learned how to run our own comps as well as look into each comp to make sure we're comparing apples to apples and look at the surrounding properties and nearby listings to our subject property. We've gone through the tax information, the mortgage information, the transaction history, as well as how to download document images and assessor's maps. We've also looked into the Rehab calculator that calculates rehab based on local labor and material costs. Next, we'll be looking into generating targeted lists, how to save those lists and extract them from the PropStream application. Thanks again for listening, and we'll be right back to you with the rest.